Hey guys, today we're gonna talk about the Quickload skill and why it's actually a really good skill for bow. And although it looks like just a comfort skill, it's actually really good. So in this video I'm gonna talk about what it does and what are the best use for this skill. So first off, I will start by saying that if you're gonna use Quickload, you only want to get Quickload 2. Quickload 1 has almost no effects, and Quickload 3 has literally no effect on bow whatsoever. However, when it starts to get interesting is when we get Quickload 2. What Quickload 2 does is that it makes swapping cuttings just like swapping ammo for bowguns. And what it means is that if you look at the bottom right side of my screen, you can see that by just scrolling through the cuttings, I'm actually swapping cuttings automatically. And this works all the time, whether your weapon is sheathed or unsheathed, or even mid-combo. And this has a lot of uses and I'm gonna go over now. But before I do, by the end of the video, you're probably gonna wonder, should I equip that skill? Well, you're gonna have to make that decision, but if there's one thing that can help you decide, it may surprise you, but the difference between Elemental Attack 3 and 5 is incredibly small. In fact, on the training dummy that has a 30 elemental hit zone, which is really good, you only lose 1 damage going from Elemental Attack 5 to 3. Quickload being a level 1 decoration, if you're wondering how you can slot it in, well, using Elemental 3 instead of 5 might be the solution. Okay, so let's talk about the first main use of Quickload 2. It is to maximize your power cuttings. As most of you are probably aware, if you're too close to the target with power cuttings when using rapid and pierce bows, you have a huge damage penalty of 20% of your raw damage. So by using the Quickload skill to switch to close range cutting when your target is too close, not only do you avoid the damage penalty, but you also save on power cuttings. Let's take a look at this clip. I noticed that Magnamalo is going to do his tail stab attack, which means his tail is going to be very close to me. So I switched to close range cutting to avoid the damage penalty, and I hit the tail with it. And as you can see, I instantly swap back to power cutting after that. Pay attention to the cutting for the rest of the clip and notice how I change to close range cutting as soon as it's too close to me. So of course, this technique is a bit advanced, so if you're not too comfortable with the bow yet, I recommend that you wait before you start using it. One advice that I can give you to make it easier is to go in your settings and change the D-pad control for the item bar. This makes swapping between cuttings a lot more convenient than the default option. So I know switching back and forth between power cutting and close range cutting is a bit difficult. So one easy way to get you started is to use that technique when the monster is down. You can switch to close range cutting when the monster is down, and when it starts to get up, you can switch back to power cuttings. Okay, so that was the basic of the first use of Quickload, which is maximizing power cuttings. Let's now look at the second use of it. As of right now, most of the bows that we use are rampage bows, and they have exhaust cutting. And if you watch my absolute power shot videos, you will know that exhaust not only does KO, but also cause an exhaust flinch. So let's talk about the KO application first. The good news is that the KO from the exhaust cutting stacks with the KO from absolute power shot, which means that if you use exhaust cutting with the absolute power shot, you will get KOs insanely fast. So I don't really recommend using all of the 20 exhaust cutting that you have, because you lose a lot of damage when you use the exhaust cutting instead of using power cuttings. However, it has a lot of applications. For example, let's look at Magnamalo. This is a monster where you're not always gonna hit the face just because you wanna aim at the purple zones. So one way to get easy KOs is to use exhaust cuttings when his head is purple, and then to switch back to power cuttings when his head is not purple anymore. If you look at this clip, notice that I equipped the exhaust cutting right at the start, and look how fast I get the first KO. And of course, as soon as I get the KO, I can switch back instantly to power cuttings. Even on monsters where you hit the face all the time, I wouldn't abuse the exhaust cutting, but it lets you time the KO when you want to. Look at this clip of Teostra. I decide that I want to get the KO right after the enrage, so as soon as I see him roaring, I equip the exhaust cutting, and as you can see, I instantly get the KO. So my advice if you're gonna use this is to experience with it and see what works and what doesn't. Another use of the exhaust coating with Quickload is to get the flying monster out of the air. When you get an exhaust flinch on flying monsters, they will instantly drop down. Look at this clip for example. I primed the exhaust on Rathalos and I proc it with just one exhaust coating and he instantly drops. So of course the very basic use of this is to switch to exhaust coating on the flying monsters, but there's not a lot of those. A more advanced way to use this is that some monsters will jump during an animation. Let's take a look at this clip of Apex Mizutsune. She is toppled and I know that she's going to enrage right as she stands up. And when Mizutsune gets enraged, she starts by jumping on the side. So during this jump, she's gonna be airborne for half a second. And since I'm using absolute power shot, I know that the exhaust flinch is primed. So pay attention to the coatings. As soon as she stands up, I switch to exhaust coatings, and as long as I hit her once in the air, she's gonna drop down. This is called an exhaust dunk. This is also how I got the intro clip. I primed the exhaust, and when Magnamalo does a Nova, I hit him once with the exhaust coating, and he dunks right away. Another way you can use Quickload is on bows that have power coating by default, so in this clip for example the Nagakuga bow. You can instantly switch to power coating when you're at max charge to inflict paralyze very quickly, and then instantly switch back to your normal coatings. That way you don't lose time reloading the coatings and losing your charge level. It is especially good for Pierce since you need to have a very specific angle to do your max damage. Okay, but that's pretty much it for me today. I hope that was interesting for you guys. And for those of you that don't use Quickload, if you want to give it a try and let me know what you think, let me know in the comment sections. Alright, see you next time.